I'm Jay Horton. I make movies that make money. This is how. I've been thinking about that phrase a lot and what I'm doing in the larger scheme of things with this channel. My goal is to provide information, and hopefully in hearing my experiences and what has and hasn't worked for me can help other indie filmmakers navigate the treacherous landscape of independent film distribution. But let me say this, there are no shortcuts. There's no one piece of information in any of these videos that's going to lead you or your films to success. Now sure, I'll give you some quick tips, and I do believe that following many of these tips can increase your odds of success. But none of it is guaranteed, and you still have to do all the legwork and execute. I can tell you how I create promotional content and when and where I post it, and I've done that. I can tell you how I work SEO to come up with good descriptions, and I've done that. But you still have to translate what I say into something that works for you. For example, I did a video on Pinterest a few months back, and I laid out how I got a ton of views there. Then, about a week later, I get 2 messages from 2 completely different filmmakers that tried it and had really bad results. They both basically said, I tried it, it didn't work. They both asked me, how the hell did I succeed with it? And I pretty much just reiterated what I said in the video. I created short video clips, used good thumbnails, and concentrated on proper SEO and hashtags in my descriptions. So out of curiosity, I click over on the filmmaker's Pinterest page and take a look. You guys want to place some bets on whether they were using good thumbnails and good SEO and good hashtags? Spoiler, they weren't. Look, I can create video after video explaining keyword phrases and SEO, but for the most part, I leave it to you to bear down and do that homework. I just point you in what I think is the right direction. I did a video a ways back on how I use social media marketing, and I broke down all the specific steps I use. I'd say stuff like, I post on various social media platforms every day, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'd tell you how many times a day I post. But when it comes to the creation of those posts and learning what works and what doesn't, I forgot to mention that I've spent hours and hours and days and months and years studying how to post better on social media. Stuff that you're not going to get from a 20-minute or a 45-minute video. I've read blogs, books, and this is the main reason I've been able to successfully market my movies and myself. I study the out of it. Now, I can quickly tell you that in order to successfully market a movie, you have to identify and target the right target audience. Then I can give you a dozen quick pieces of advice on how to do that. Here, I'll do it real quick. Search through Facebook groups, target Reddit threads, Twitter, Instagram hashtags, run small $1-a-day test ads on Facebook, and make some guesses, etc. But in all honesty, there's no quick way to learn how to really execute any of that. You have to bear down and do the homework. It took me years of studying and experimenting to even get the most basic understanding how to do these things. Now, my hope is that by people watching these videos and kind of getting an idea of the direction to go in, that they can decrease that time to where they can learn what I've learned, say in 1 year as opposed to 10. I can tell you in general how many times a day to post on social media, where to post, what kind of content to post. But it's up to you to learn how to create the content, to learn which types of content work best for you and your movie. There are just too many variables for me to do any one video that lays it all out for everyone. Just look at this YouTube channel. When I decided to start taking it a little more serious, I spent hours, days, months just consuming content that was all about growing your YouTube channel. I looked at shit every day. Hell, I still watch the videos. There was no one video that had all the answers, and the variables are infinite. But a lot of filmmakers just don't want to do that work. Don't get me wrong here. I love questions, and I love helping other filmmakers, and I don't mind questions. I've said this a few times on here. In spite of all the years of experience I have editing and shooting, I'm not a terribly technically minded filmmaker. I know what works and what doesn't work. I know what works and doesn't work for me. But for example, I don't know shit about cameras. I know which one I use and what new one I'd like to buy. I know lens sizes and how they affect an image, but I don't know brands. I don't know how camera sensors work. I don't know or give two shits about gear. Don't care. And even when it comes to editing, I've spent my entire career pretty much as a chief editor. So I haven't done a lot of the assistant editor stuff. So I don't know a lot about codecs. I know which ones I use for different purposes, but I couldn't tell you why or how they work. I know what an HD frame size is. I know what a 4K frame size is. I can tell you which settings I use to export a movie for FilmHUB or for YouTube or for wherever. I can also point you to the tech pages that tells you what to export. But I can't necessarily tell you how to fix your movie that's already been exported and you don't have the raw stuff for it anymore. I know a little bit about graphic design. I can create my own art that fits the standards of any platform. And if you have a PSD, I can tell you how to modify yours. But if you don't know what a PSD is, I probably can't help you. I know sometimes I make it all sound super easy. I just shoot the movies, edit them quickly, and put them into the market. But keep in mind, I've been doing this professionally for a very long time. It's taken me over 15 years to learn some of this stuff. I didn't learn any of it overnight or from any one video, and neither will anyone else. And to be further honest, things didn't really start going consistently well for me until just a few years ago. I spent a good 10 years learning my craft and business. Sure, there were good spurts here and there over that time where I did really well, but there were also darker periods where I really struggled, where I could barely pay rent or sometimes didn't. Filmmaking is a long, hard slog for 99% of filmmakers. No one movie is gonna break us out. Netflix is not gonna come and rescue us. I worked like a dog for a long time to be able to even make ends meet. And then after that, I had to grind even harder to get to where I'm at now. And I still by no means have it made in the shade. I have to keep grinding to stay on top of things, to be able to pivot successfully when things go bad, which they inevitably do. Methods that work for us today might be totally irrelevant next year. Shit. I spit advice about TVOD versus SVOD versus AVOD that's less than a year old and has totally changed. Speaking of the Pinterest thing earlier, I did an interview for Alex Ferrari's Indie Film Hustle podcast. We recorded in June, I think. I said some stuff about Pinterest and how I was getting tons of views there, like 300,000 in a month. That was less than 6 months ago, and that exact methodology is not working for me anything close to that today. Sure, the methodology is still overall solid, but the astronomical numbers I was seeing there, I'm not seeing that now. But that doesn't stop me. I still continue to use it, and I use it for what it is, with lesser expectations. I do have some success with it, and I've pivoted with that success onto other social media platforms. For example, I'm now in the midst of learning how to market on TikTok, and my old ass is getting nowhere close to cracking that code yet. I'm still learning and growing every day, and I dedicate a good portion of my day to learning. I know that sounds a little hippy-dippy, but that's what it takes to make any business work. No one's gonna come in with a short, concise piece of information and just hand it to you on a silver platter that solves everything. Sure, there are sources that can point you in the right direction, but at the end of the day, you have to get into the fray and learn it for yourself. You can learn a bit more about how I market my videos here. If you're enjoying my videos, subscribe. What are you waiting for? I'd also really appreciate it if you'd share this video on social media. But whatever you do, keep making movies.